Of course, you can do amazing things with text. And when I'm in 3D in After Effects CS6, I can actually go in and go into my geometry options and extrude my text to create this amazing 3D text. And if I add a new light to this, so let's add some ambient light of about 50%, and then add a point light, we'll start to see the effect of the 3D. So adding light really accentuates the 3D qualities. Now I can go in there and I can add bevels and stuff like that to the text, and it's great. But I find that it's fairly limited what you can do with text. You can adjust the whole of it, and you can add animators to do things like adjust the position and skew, rotation, opacity. But what I recommend doing sometimes is actually converting text to shape layers, because that gives you some different options. So let's have a look at that. We go to Layer, Create Shapes from Text, and again we can go in and we can extrude. So let's go into our geometry options. We can also adjust material options as well if we want to. We can still add our bevels. But the other nice thing is we get different options from the ones we get from just standard text layers. So I can do things like round the corners. So if I don't have a nice round font to use, I can just go in and adjust the round corners effect and get this nice kind of cartoony look. I could also add, let's say, maybe a little bit of a twist in there. So I can apply my twist settings and create a little bit of a curve in terms of the shape of the characters. And I can go on and on. I have things like wiggle paths, which allows me just to create some random animation on the edges of my path. Now you'll see it starts to slow down a little bit when I add that, so I'm probably going to stop that playing back. It's probably a little bit too complicated. There's a lot of detail in wiggle paths, and that combined with 3D can be a bit much. So you want to avoid any of the ones that add a little bit too much detail. But things like twist and round corners are really handy to apply to your text layers, and there isn't a way of doing that easily with text layers. So have a think about using some of these options. There's also the repeater, of course. So if we want multiple shape layers, we can do that too. Let's just open our repeater, and we've got 3 copies. And at the moment they're offset by the X position, but if I take that down to 0 and offset them on the Y-axis instead, we'll now have 3 copies of our text. Okay, and let's just offset that a little bit. So let's go up to our offset options and put that to a value of 1 or -1. And we've now got 3 copies of our shapes layer. And of course, anything we do will now be applied to those copies. So we can do things like rotate them and create all sorts of amazing effects using our operators, scale some of them down, okay, so that they scale over time. And it's just a lot of fun. So I really recommend that you have a play with shape operators on text by converting the text to shapes, and then applying some operators and having a bit of fun.